is Jeff Hood. Jeff asks, you want to learn about boats? And if you do, how do you know if you've chosen the wrong boat? Now, for those of you that don't know Jeff, he's a native Floridian, born in Jacksonville, and grew up in the country somewhere along the St. Johns River in a little place called Switzerland, Florida, that is. Jeff's a family man, married to his beautiful wife, Julie, has a daughter named Lucky, and 3 of the coolest sons anyone could have, Martin, Matthew, and Mason. Jeff's hobbies revolve around anything outdoors, hunting, fishing, and especially boating. His home is on the southern end of Lake Sylvan in Sanford, loves vacationing in the Florida Keys, sailing to the British Virgin Islands, and is looking forward to another trip to the Bahamas by boat. We're going to have a little outing at his place in a couple weeks. If you want to know about the boating and fishing, you just might want to go to Jeff. He's the go-to guy. I give you Jeff Hood.
Well, you might could say boating could be my forte. So how do you know if you've chosen the wrong boat? Boating, it can be a lot of fun. It brings friends and families together, and it creates memories for a lifetime. So if you have an interest in boating, there's a few things you're going to want to think about. And I'm here this morning to help you out with that. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished head table, and a welcome guest. To start, if you were born on or after January 1 of 1988, you must have a boating safety education identification card. Now, to most of us, that's like having a driver's license to drive a boat. You must have that to legally operate a boat or a watercraft in the state of Florida. And if you want to know what that might look like, I have one, but unfortunately I was unable to put my hands on it this morning, so I'm going to pass this around. This is an identification card to what it looks like and instructions how you might be able to obtain one if you so wanted to do that. Just go on to website myfwc.com and it'll help you go through all of those processes. Now back to boats. First, when choosing a boat, you're going to want to think about what type of boating that you want to do, whether it's fishing, water skiing, wakeboarding, cruising, sailing, and also you're going to want to know who you're going to take along with you. That's very important. Now, it's always good to start with friends or family. They generally know you, and they work best when you're starting out new with boating. And hopefully, they trust you know what you're doing. Next, where do you want to do your boating? Lakes, rivers, the intercoastal, the ocean. And you're also going to want to know your own personal limitations, as well as you want to know your boat's limitations. Make sure you have the right boat for the right waterways. Having the right boat for your comfort level and for what you want to do is so very important. So choose carefully. So now, I would like to share a little story of one of our Hood family boating days when one day I should have chosen a different boat. It was a typical summer afternoon here in Central Florida. Sun was shining, clear blue skies, it was about 95 degrees. There I was, the captain of my boat. It was my little 14-foot canoe. I was taking my family up the Wekiva River to the Wekiva Springs State Park to play in the cool water. Now, for those of you who don't know what a canoe is, I'm going to pass around a little picture that might give you an idea. Who knows what a canoe is? Who knows what a canoe is? Well, a canoe is considered a motorized canoe. It's shaped like a canoe, it's about the same length as a canoe, it's chopped off in the back, flat to where you can mount a motor on the back of it. One of the advantages of having a motor on the back of a canoe, it allows you to go a little faster. And yes, for me, faster is a Jeff thing. Did I tell you I had 3 boys? Their mom, which was my wife back at that time, and myself, all in that 14-foot canoe. And yes, it was just a little bit too small for the 5 of us. And let's don't forget, I had this motor on the back of it too. Well, it's getting late in the afternoon. We're enjoying playing in the springs, and all of a sudden, the sky begins to darken, and it looks like a storm is brewing. And it's heading our way. My sons and their mom, they say, it's time to start heading back to the marina. Now, if you didn't know, the area where we were in the Wekiva Springs, the waterway was prohibited against outboard motors. So that means we could only use paddles. We start paddling our canoe back toward the marina, which was a couple of miles away. Then the sky's beginning to get even more darkened. Thunder begins, and we now see lightning off in the distance. Paddle faster, my boys said. Well, that wasn't working quite so well as I'd hoped. So guess what I did? Yeah, I cranked up that motor. Now we're making good progress, I said, probably 10 miles per hour, and in a canoe, that's moving along pretty good. Now all of a sudden, the boat brushed up against a submerged stump. Okay, well, maybe it was a little more than a brush. We hit it pretty hard. It was kind of like when the Titanic hit that submerged iceberg. Well, I got to tell you, that boat flipped so fast. And to this day, I can still see my boys and their mom getting tossed out of that boat, flying through the air and into that cold water. And boy, let me tell you, I was in trouble then. So that you know, our boys were wearing their life vest, and I instinctively began gathering them all up, got everybody back in the boat, and everybody was fine. But by now, this time, I get to see all of our stuff, our hats, our shoes, our boat bag, and our paddles. They're drifting downstream. And here we are in our canoe, my friends, up the creek without a paddle. Then would you believe it? People in some other canoes were rounding around the corner, and we heard some of them saying, "Anybody lose your paddles?" So what a relief that was. We got our paddles back, some of our shoes, some of our boat stuff, and we again were well on our way. We got back to the marina, got everybody home, all safe and sound. So when it comes to boating, whether it's a fishing boat, a bow rider, a ski boat, a deck boat, or even a canoe, regardless of the size, boating is loads of fun. And it's a great way to bring family and friends together. So remember, do your best when searching for a boat to get the right boat for the type of boating you want to do. Because the memories it will create will last a lifetime. Just ask one of my sons. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you.